Don't you walk on me.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 54 of the Brooklyn Fishing Club podcast. I'm your host, Victor Lucia, founder and president of the BFC. Before we dive into this episode, I just want to take a minute to say thank you to all of our listeners. We're offering you guys 20% off on any order from our shop from now until Halloween using the code BFC123. BFC is in all caps. This discount will not be announced anywhere else but here, so take advantage of it today by visiting brooklynfishingclub.com. And again, thank you for listening to the Brooklyn Fishing Club podcast.
I'm in Alabama.
So you live on the road, huh?
Birmingham, Alabama. Oh yeah, I'm constantly traveling. I think I was talking to her last night with Jake and his family. My buddy, I'm staying at his place down here. Which is nice to get out of the truck for a little bit. But I probably slept in my truck. I have for sure slept in my truck more than I have my own bed this year.
That's crazy, man. You're pretty far from home now, right? You're from Ontario?
Yeah, I'm not too sure how far Birmingham is. I think it's about, 15 hours. Not too bad.
What brings you down there right now? Are you just scoping spots out? You got a tournament coming up? What's going on?
Yeah, we have an event here next May, but there's like a cutoff. There's a month cutoff before every event, so I'm doing a lot of pre-practice, and now I've hit probably 4 lakes so far, and gonna hit Tennessee River on Thursday, fish there for a few days, and then get back home for Christmas.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So, man, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
I apologize for being so bad at getting back to you. And then like last week I was on Seminole and the service there was terrible.
No problem, dude. You're a
but
road
I got
warrior.
Great service now.
You're a road warrior. I get it. It's all good. It's all good. So you had a big year last year, huh?
Yeah, it was a fun year, man.
Let's talk about it.
It was a dream year, really.
Because it's like after something like that, what is, like one of these questions I keep coming back to with a lot of the guys I interview that participate in tournaments is, do you feel like you're only as good as your last win? I mean, how much can you really enjoy it before you're like, damn, I got to do that again?
Yeah, it's like you win one and then you're like, you go to another event, you kind of have to forget about the win and focus on the next one. So like you're constantly, like you finish one, you're on such a big high if you have a good derby, and then, the high still stays with you, but when you go to another event, you're just so focused and you almost forget about it all just because you're so focused on trying to do it all over again at the next one.
Right. So how do you replicate it when the lake is, always a different lake every tournament, right? It's always changing. The environment is constantly changing. How do you stay up with that?
Yeah, the biggest thing is like just kind of keeping an open mind, and like you said, there's like we'll go to one lake that's completely like Cherokee, for example. Had a good derby there, and then right after that we went to the James River to fish for largemouth on a tidal fishery, which is literally the complete opposite species, completely different fishing. So it's just like you kind of just have to adapt and switch things up, because a lot of these fisheries are so different throughout the year. But it's fun. I mean, that's what's so fun about the sport and fishing competitively is you're always doing something different. That's one of my favorite things about it is, there's so many different ways to catch them. There's so many different fisheries that we get to go to. And that's a part of the whole journey that I really enjoy. You're constantly learning, fishing new bodies of water and learning new techniques and stuff like that.
And it feels like you're constantly challenged. It doesn't seem like it ever gets easier.
No, I know for sure. It's a constant challenge, 100%. Like I said, you're always learning, you're always making mistakes. Um, yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I love it so much is there's just so much you can do.
So did you compete in
You're always
college?
learning.
Did you compete at the college level?
I didn't. We didn't have college fishing back home in Ontario growing up, but we did have the Bass Nation, and that's where it all started for me. I started fishing the high school. I started off doing the junior program through Bass Nation, Ontario Bass Nation. And then as I started getting older, obviously I got into high school. We had a high school program as well. And I qualified and went down to the States a couple times through the Bass Nation. And that's really where it all started. Like the first time I ever came down south was the St. Lawrence River, which really isn't that south. That was the first tournament I competed in, was in the States with my tournament partner, still to this day, Danny McGarry. And we actually won that tournament. And after winning that one, that was the tournament that, really fueled the fire. And that's what made me realize that this is all I wanted to do the rest of my life. And I wanted to try and eventually do it at the highest level.
It's crazy, man. That was it, huh? After that, you just put all your chips in and said, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, 100%. And the Bass Nation, like going back to the Bass Nation thing, like if it wasn't for Bass Nation, I guarantee you I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. If you have kids or even if you just want to get into it, like bass fishing Bass Nation is such a great platform to get started. You get to fish with a ton of different people, and that's one thing I'm very thankful for is Bass Nation and the amount of people I got to fish with growing up.
That's really cool. Sounds like they provided you with
Like,
the opportunities you really needed.
oh, for sure. I mean, like being in high school or being at the junior level, like obviously we don't have boats. Some people are fortunate that their, dad has a boat, which is awesome, but most kids don't have that. So by joining the Bass Nation, you get to hop in these boats and fish with guys who have boats, and you also get to learn at the same time. So again, super thankful I was able to get into that and compete at a young age.
How were you able to get your own boat?
How was I able to get my own boat?
Yeah. Because I know that's like
so
a major challenge for anybody trying to do this. A lot of guys are investing a ton of money before they even get a win, and it's usually in the beginning, from what I understand, it's usually your own money.
Yep, 100%. I just worked my butt off, honestly. I worked a full year, and literally that 1 year, and I worked obviously after that, but that 1 year I dedicated, like that was my goal. I wanted a boat, and I saved up every penny, worked every day. And yeah, I ended up buying my first boat when I was 16, I believe. And it was a Nitro 700 LX. It was a 17 footer, had a Merc on the back, and fished out of that for a couple of years and just slowly upgraded. After that, I got a 19 footer and then had that for a couple of years. And then now I'm running a Z20. But yeah, I mean, any kids listening to this, like if you want a boat, you can, just work, make money, get a boat. And yeah, they're not expensive, or they're not cheap, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to hard work. And yeah, if you want it that bad, you can make it happen for sure.
So it sounds like you've been laser focused for years. I mean, that's one thing. Before I got on the phone with you, I was doing prep for the interview and I was watching your YouTube channel, subscribed to your YouTube channel. I was getting hyped watching you, bro. Like, it's some good stuff. And
thanks, man.
Yeah, no, it's some really good stuff. And I have a lot of questions about it. But one thing I noticed in observing you and seeing how you handle winning and everything, it just seems like you are laser focused. And if it has to go back to childhood, and I've heard you talk about how your dad was on the tour with you when you won first place last year. And I just kind of want to hear a little bit about the role that your upbringing and your family has played in your success, and what are some of the virtues and morals that they've instilled in you in order to be so laser focused,
Yeah, so I grew up, we moved to the shores of Lake Ontario on the Canadian side when I was 5 years old. My parents, my two brothers, and we were surrounded by water. Like, we had the river right in our backyard. We had Lake Ontario. My dad doesn't bass fish, but he does the salmon fishing. He downrights for salmon out in Lake Ontario. So he always enjoyed fishing. And we had marshes. Like, we were lucky and fortunate to grow up in such a awesome neighborhood full of water, and, had great fishing opportunities. And that's where it all started when I was about 5, 6 years old. And yeah, I've been, it's been in my blood ever since. It's an obsession. It really is. And not even just bass fishing. I like kind of doing it all. Like, I do carp fishing every year. We do the river fishing. I like doing multi-species. I'm just obsessed with fishing in general. Obviously competitive fishing has a special place in my heart. But yeah, it's been a pretty awesome ride, and super thankful for all the friends, and again, my family. Like, both my parents have been super supportive. Like you said, Dad came down to Cherokee, and he was there to watch me win that, which was super awesome. I always joke around, having my dad, it's like, when he does come to the tournaments, it's like having my own pit crew. He's just like, he's always helping me out, even just the little things that make such a big difference, like making me lunches for the next day, or I get a flat tire and it's 8 o'clock, it gets dark in an hour, I still got to rig rods. He takes care of that stuff when he's with me. So both him and Mom have been super supportive over the past few years growing up, and my brothers. But
where do you stand where do you stand amongst the brothers? Are you the oldest, middle, youngest?
I'm the youngest. So Tanner, he's my middle brother. He's 27. And then Colin, he's the oldest. He just turned 30 a couple weeks back.
They all
and
fish
they
too?
Both love fishing as well. They
cool.
don't do the competitive fishing, but they're obsessed with it as well. They're always fishing throughout the season, no matter what it is.
That's awesome, man. Very, very cool. So, let me ask you this. In terms of your YouTube, who's your camera guy? How do you edit this? How much time goes into this? What's the behind the scenes of all this?
Yeah, so we do 2 series. I do the chase, which is like the tournament side of things, and then we do another series called the road trip, and it's all multi-species. We do 5 episodes a year, and it's basically just, we do full films, or like 30 to 45-minute films, just documenting our fishing adventures, scratching that next fishing adventure off our bucket list.
How many
we
people
try and go
are
to
in
locations.
how many people are in the film crew? Like, who's in like the production crew?
So as far as so my brother Colin, so for the road trip series, he does most of the filming for that. I do all the editing. And then as far as the chase and tournament videos go, a lot of them I'm on the road by myself, so I have to film it all on my own, and then I edit it. I edit the chase videos as well. And then Dad, like, when he's with me, he's behind the camera, which helps out huge. It's a lot to have to, worry about. Like, it's like, that's the last thing, and I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. Don't get me wrong, but it just takes so much time to do it all on your own when,
and it's filled with,
like, at the end of the day,
it's filled with disappointment.
I want to be able to focus on fishing more than I do filming. And
exactly.
There's times where I catch myself filming too much. I'm like, I got to put the camera down and start focusing more on the fishing side of things.
It's definitely tough to strike
Colin,
that
my
balance.
brother. Yeah, for sure. Colin's been a big help with it all. He's really good behind the lens, so it's pretty awesome having him. And as far as time, putting it all together, it's very time consuming. It's crazy. Like those road trip videos, I'll be behind the computer for 5 days straight. Like, I won't leave my room, and I'll just be sorting footage, editing. So on average for the chase video or the road trip videos, it takes me about 5 days in my room. And then for the tournament videos, it really all depends, but I'm looking at least 2 days, 9-10 hours a day, putting it all together.
And then I saw that one, you had your GoPro like not record it. That looked fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, that sucked big time. The GoPro didn't actually break. The SD card, it was, I don't know what happened. It just didn't, the footage was there, but I wasn't able to open it. All the files were corrupted. So that sucked. But, oh well.
It's rough. Whatever, man.
It happens.
More footage to get.
Yeah.
Have you fished any place in California? Just curious. There's some crazy bass lakes over on the West Coast.
I have not, but I would love to. It looks pretty awesome over there.
So your biggest bass ever, it was 11.4 or 11.9. I think you had a YouTube video about it.
Yeah, I think it was 11.12, not like 12 ounces. It was like 11 pounds, 1 ounce. That was on Lake Toho. We had an open there. That was the first open of the season this year. And I ended up staying down there for like another week, and my other buddy was there as well. And we went out fishing the one day, and it was just one of those days where like you're not catching anything, and you're more just talking fishing, talking about life and all that, and just having a good time. You're not actually really fishing. You're just out there enjoying it. And we caught 2 fish that day. One was that 11 pounder, and then we caught like a 1 pounder all day. But it was a big one.
That's crazy. That was it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about technique, tactics. What are, like, I looked at your YouTube, you've got about 100 different rods. You have all these different baits rigged up. How do you know what to throw and when to throw it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't know. For example, on Hartwell, like, I did not know. It got to a point, I don't know if you watched the Hartwell video, but I started to spin out, and I went 4 days where I just did not know what to do. I didn't know how to catch them. I didn't know what to throw. And so there's times where you get scatterbrained and you're like, man, you feel lost. And, I wish I always knew what to throw, but that's just not the case. But it really all comes down to time of year, what fishery you're on. If there's grass, you fish in smallmouth, there's so many variables that go into it. But I honestly, I like to keep it pretty simple. I don't, going into a tournament, if I've got 20 rods on my deck, I'm struggling. Typically, I like having 1 to 4 rods. If I can go out in a tournament with 1 to 4 rods, that's when I feel the most confident and comfortable.
A smaller quiver.
Yeah.
And what are some of the baits you're throwing? Like, let's talk about largemouth a little bit specifically. I mean, what's one of your favorite baits to throw for them when you're in shallower water, like along the bank?
Yeah, can't beat a top water. That's one of the funnest bites you can have. I really started to really like throwing a chatterbug around, a chatterbait. I call them chatterbugs. And I've always thrown them, but I noticed myself throwing it a lot more this year. Like when you get up in some shallow grass and you're trying to locate some fish, I've been throwing a chatterbait a lot. Pretty well any tournament this year where there's grass, I had a chatterbait tied on. But those are probably 2 of my favorites that I like to throw, fishing for shallow largemouth moving baits. As far as like non-moving baits, I love throwing a jig around, Texas rig soft plastics. I love flipping. But yeah.
How do you feel about bed fishing for largemouth?
So bed fishing, I was actually on a podcast the other day, and bed fisher, the question was, what is your biggest weakness? And it'd probably be bed fishing. To be honest, I haven't got a chance to be able to do it a whole lot, especially, where I've grown up, we have a season where it closes and doesn't open up until after the spawn. So we don't even get a chance to fish for bedding largemouth back home. I've done it in the States, but I just haven't done it enough to have as much confidence as I do in a lot of the other things that I do throughout the season. So that's probably one thing that I definitely need to get better at, especially, with the elites. Like, typically the first couple events are spawn derbies. So I best start getting some confidence doing it. And I got confidence doing it. I just have a lot to learn, and a lot to improve on, for sure.
Interesting. So what do you think is your greatest strength?
Greatest strength. I love smallmouth fishing. I'd probably say fishing for smallmouth. Drop shotting. I love throwing a droppie around. It's probably one of my favorite things to do to catch big smallmouth. It's just, drop shot's actually very versatile. You can do so much with it. As far as, leader length from your hook to your weight. You can cast and reel a drop shot. You can cast and drag it. You can fish it vertically. It's just a super versatile bait, and big ones eat it.
So you use that a lot in the tournaments?
Yeah, I do. This year I used it quite a bit. Oneida Lake, for example, I did not put it down once. I threw the drop shot all 3 days of the tournament.
And it produced the whole time?
Yep. I literally did not put it down. I caught every fish that whole event on a drop shot. I don't think I picked up another rod. I just stuck with it and rolled with it.
Sometimes if it works, you just got to keep doing it. That's it, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. If it's working, keep rolling with it. If it stops working, make a change.
What do you feel like is one of the best baits for smallmouth when you're fishing deep, cold water?
On a drop shot, the X-Zone Deception Worm. It's a brand new, not the Deception Worm, the Hot Shot Minnow. It's a brand new bait X-Zone just came out with. Brandon, Polinick, and all the boys at X-Zone killed it. It is such a good bait. You look at it and it's a very simple looking bait, but once you put it in the water, it's got the perfect amount of action. It doesn't have too much action. And that's one thing that you can definitely have with smallmouth. You can have a bait that has too much action. But the Hot Shot Minnow is just, it's that perfect in between, and it floats. So it's constantly staying horizontal in the water column, which is also super key, for smallmouth. And, they eat it. And the size profile is perfect as well.
What's your PB smallmouth?
PB smallmouth. I'm actually not too sure. I've caught, I don't know, probably over 7. Again, I don't weigh them. I actually caught one last year in the open, on the St. Lawrence River, and I was on such a high because I caught a big bag. I had one in there. I should have weighed, but I was just I blanked. I was just on such a high. I brought a big bag to the scales and I wasn't even thinking, but it was like a 7 something. It was a big one. I regret not weighing it.
What'd you place in that one?
But that one I ended up 4th.
Wow.
Two really good days, and then I stumbled on the final day.
What do you think happened?
Honestly, I don't know. Usually, I remember my dad asked me, what did you do wrong, or did you learn anything? I'm like, not really. After that tournament, I didn't really have any regrets. I just couldn't get onto big ones. It seemed like the first 2 days, every fish I hooked was over 5. And on the final day, I was fishing in the same areas, and I just couldn't get those big bites that I needed. I needed about 25 pounds to win it. I think I ended up coming in with 21. Yeah, like looking back, I honestly don't know what I would have done differently. It was just one of those deals that, I ended up rolling with what I did on day one and day two, just because that's what got me there. And the fish were in the area. I just couldn't get the big bites.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that, looking at the Bassmaster website and looking at, the places of all the different anglers, sometimes it really only comes down to a pound, a half a pound. I mean, it's crazy how close it can get in the end.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like what's crazy about this game? It's insane how far one big bite can move you up the leaderboard. Like there's some events throughout the season, and you look back at the results, and like say you lose one in the tournament. You look back and you're thinking to yourself, you're like, man, if I would have caught that 5-pounder, I would have jumped 70 spots. Like it's crazy what one big bite can do in some of the tournaments.
Have you had
especially the grinder ones?
Yeah, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, like James River, for example. Guys caught him there this year. Last year the weights were a little bit lower, but you get these events where there's so many 10 to 12 pound bags. Like 40th might be 12 a day, and then 130th could be 10.5 pounds a day. So like the weights are so close, and at the end of the day, like I was saying, if you can get that one big bite, it can literally jump you 70 spots. It's crazy. And it's not all tournaments. Like you look at somewhere like the St. Lawrence, it's a little bit harder just because there's so many big ones. But when you go to some fisheries that, 12 pounds a day is half decent, like even Florida, like it's got tons of giants, but if you look at tournament results, like typically if you can catch 13 pounds a day, you have a pretty good tournament. And then you have like the guys in the top 15 who really catch them. And that's the same thing in Florida. Like that one big bite goes such a long way and can jump you up so much further up the leaderboard.
What's the most amount of anglers that you've competed against in a tournament? I know you said just now that it sounded like one of them had 130 anglers. I mean, how big are some of these tournaments?
Yeah, so for the opens, there was several this year that had over 200. I think about on average in the opens this year, there was about 180 per event.
And what's the
biggest tournament?
Like that?
Entry fee?
Yeah, like what's the entry fee? Yeah.
So the entry fees for the opens are $1,800 per event.
Okay.
The biggest field I ever competed in was at the Bass Pro Shops US Open on Table Rock Lake. That was last year, I believe, or 2 years ago. And there was over 300 boats for that one. And it was a team tournament, so there was over 600 anglers out fishing. It was crazy.
That's
a lot
insane. Of boats. What did you place in that one?
Honestly can't remember. We had a good first day. We were in like 13th after day one.
That's
and
wild.
then we did not catch them. We didn't catch them day two, and we dropped for sure. We were definitely below 50th, because I remember for day three, if you were in the top 50, you got a fish. So we were between like 50 and 100th place, I believe.
That's crazy. That's a crazy amount of anglers on one lake fishing at one time. Wild.
Yeah,
so,
Table Rock, believe it or not, Table Rock can hold it. It's a gigantic lake. But yeah, like you put that many anglers on a smaller lake, you're playing bumper boats for sure.
Oh, you must have been getting mugged.
Yeah.
How much do you study the map of the lake in terms of the underwater topographic map? Or I might be saying that wrong, but
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the depths, everything, like when you're going to a new lake, even before you set foot on the boat and launch the boat, you've got to be looking at some type of, map. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I love staring at contour lines. I love looking at a map. Like there's several nights where I'm just laying in bed and I'm just staring at my navionics. It doesn't even have to be like a lake that I'm going to in the next month for a tournament. Like I just like looking at maps. And I like just staring at contours. I'm a map junkie. But yeah, I definitely will. Before a tournament, I'll definitely hop on avionics or get in my boat and hop on my graph and kind of just see how the lake lays out and what we're dealing with before we go there. Little bit of Google Earth. I don't do a whole lot of it. I probably should do a little bit more than I do. But yeah, I definitely love staring at the map and doing a little bit of map study before I come down for the lakes that I've never been to.
Do you feel like the map study is just as important as studying the temperature and the barometer and all that stuff before you hit the lake?
Yeah, like it's definitely good to do both. But honestly, like what I've learned over the past few years, like growing up and doing the high school stuff, and the less research you do, for me, this is how it's been for me. Some people are different, but the less research I do, the better I do, because there's so many times you do research, you're watching videos, you're looking at videos, and you're doing research online and stuff like that. And sometimes you get to the lakes and it's so much changes throughout the year. That's what's crazy about the sport as well. Whether it's weather, fishing pressure, weed growth, like it's growing all over the place in different areas of the lake, depending on what lake you're at certain times of the year. Some lakes are spraying the weed and sometimes it's not even there anymore. So for me, I don't like doing research, honestly. That's about the only thing I'll do is map study, just because I know how much these lakes change. And I don't want to get something stuck in my head before I get here and then, end up forcing a bite that I've researched. That's just not happening. I try to just kind of fish the moment and just back the boat in and try and figure it out as I go.
So there must have been some times where you did over research and you struck out, huh?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Happened several times when I was younger. You get all these ideas and you watch videos. Oh, it's one in this area. And that's another thing too. Like you look at these tournaments and it's rarely ever one on the same spot. It's, fish are constantly swimming around. They're constantly moving. It's just, they move and things are always changing.
Have you ever experienced any drama amongst other anglers on the tour? It seems like you keep it pretty chill. I mean, it doesn't seem like you're egging anybody on or getting too crazy with it.
No, no, not really, man. Honestly, like a lot of the guys on tour, like everyone's pretty cool. Like you don't, like there is some stuff that happens throughout the year, but honestly, I don't even pay attention to it. I don't like getting into any of that. I kind of
like
just,
the walleye guys.
try and stay. Yeah, I just try and stay positive and do my own thing. I don't want to get into all the drama and all that.
Do you see any of your peers as, true blue competitors, like guys you have to watch out for, or are you just really focused in your own lane?
Yeah, I'm just focused on just doing what I feel comfortable with, fishing my strengths, and at the end of the day, you've probably heard it, it's the angler against the fish at the end of the day. I mean, you are fishing against guys, but the second you start thinking about other people and fearing other people is when you stop catching them. In my opinion.
I agree. Are there any anglers that you look up to?
Yeah, there's a bunch, man, especially the Canadian boys like Chris and Corey Johnston, Jeff Gustafson. Like I've always looked up to them growing up, and I still look up to them. Like I remember back in the day, there's several people back home saying, oh, a Canadian could never make the Elite Series. It's just too hard. We only get to fish 4 months of the year. They get to fish 12 months of the year. And Chris, Corey, and Gussie, they proved a lot of people wrong. And it's not like they're just getting by. Like, they're fishing the elites and they're doing very well. They catch them. And, I've always looked up to them. And I look up to guys like Polinick as well. He's super interesting, super good fisherman, makes some unreal videos, and he's a super good dude.
Do you feel like you've learned to carry yourself in the way that you do from any of these guys and just play it cool all the time?
Sorry, say that again?
I said, do you feel like you've learned how to carry yourself in some of these situations, like winning these tournaments, and you're keeping it pretty cool. Like, you're very professional about it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a humbling sport. I mean, you can have very, very good years and you can have very, very bad years.
Do you reinvest a lot of the winnings just back into the grind?
Yep, for sure. Like that win this year definitely helped me out. For sure. It's as you know, it's not a cheap game to play.
No way.
But it's fun.
What are some pieces of equipment that you look forward to being able to afford, or like a new boat? Like, what's something that you're working towards right now?
So right now I'm just trying to focus on getting everything ready for next year. I ended up just Nitro just arrived a couple weeks back. Still waiting on my engine, so I got to get the engine on the boat, and then I got to start figuring out what I'm running for electronics next year. But it's always an exciting time of year when you start rigging the boat. It's like putting your office together, and I'm really looking forward to getting back home to Ontario and getting the boat ready, throwing a bunch of tackle in there, and getting the wrap all on the boat. And once that's all done, I'll start, getting the chills and start getting really excited for next season. I can't wait.
What do you do in the off season? Do any ice fishing up there?
A little bit. I don't. I say I'm not a fan of it because I always say I don't like it, but when I do get out with buddies, I do have a good time. It's definitely something I wouldn't go do on my own. I don't like it that much. I probably went ice fishing 8 times last year, and that's the most I've probably gone in 6 years. So I definitely don't do it a lot. Come winter time, honestly, like, the winter goes by quick. Between seasons, like, usually our season starts back up in January or February. So realistically, like, when I get home, I'm just focusing on getting everything finalized for the season ahead. As far as rigging the boat, finalizing stuff with sponsors, and then just making videos and things like that, and just making sure I've got everything in line going into the next season.
What advice could you give to up-and-coming anglers that are looking to get sponsors that probably deserve to be sponsored? What could they do to secure that?
I think the biggest thing, like, a really good thing, if you're a youngster, you love fishing and you want to get into it. 1, fish as much as you can. 2, work, because this sport ain't cheap. 3, go to the fishing shows. Network yourself. Put your face out there. Like, when you go to the fishing shows, a lot of the reps are there, and you get to meet so many cool people throughout the fishing industry. And by going to the shows, that's your best way to meet these people and these brands. And you can gain some pretty cool relationships with these brands, and you never know where it might take you in the future.
So did you have some big sponsors before you started winning a bunch of tournaments?
Yeah, I had a few growing up, when I was younger. And again, like one of the biggest things for me growing up was just putting my face out there, going to the shows, meeting people, and making content. That's another big thing. Like, these sponsors want to see content, social media, videos. That is definitely a big part of it. So if you're a kid listening and you want to get sponsors, I think the biggest thing at the end of the day, it's what you can do for them, not what they can do for you. That's kind of how you have to think. You got to think of a way that you can help sell product. You have to think of a way that you can help promote the product. And one of the best ways to do that is through social media, video content, and things like that.
Right, right. Oh man, that's crazy. So another question I have for you is when you're fishing, the water temp. Let's talk about the water temp a little bit. I mean, are there any fluctuations in temperature where you're just like, I know I'm going to catch, or I know I'm definitely not going to? I mean, I know that plays a big role in it.
Yeah, for sure. It plays the biggest role probably around the spawn. Um, and then like there's so many different things that it can affect. And like Cherokee this year, for example, we were right around the spawn, and the water was still pretty cold. They weren't spawning yet. It was too cold. And I had found some fish out deep, but it was starting to get warm. Like, it was starting to get really warm. Like, the spawn was just around the corner, which kind of worried me because I had fish out deep. And I knew the first thing that was going to be on their mind once that water started to warm up, they were going to move and start heading towards the bank. So it's little things like that that can make a huge difference. If it warmed up enough, I could have easily went out into that derby and my fish could have left. And that's when you have to start adapting and, fishing on the fly and figuring out what you need to do and where they're moving to, kind of thing. And then like cold fronts, that's another one, especially in Florida. Cold fronts are no good. It makes the fishing very tough. But in Florida, like around the spawn, a cold front is good for the spawn, because typically you want that cold front to really set them up to the point where when it does start getting warm again, they'll start thinking about spawning. There's a lot of different variables when it comes to water temp. I try not to think about it a whole lot until it happens. But yeah,
What types
cold fronts are the worst.
what types of sonar are you using? How are you finding the fish and locking in on them? Like, what types of gear are you using for that?
So I'm actually using all three brands. I run Lowrance, Humminbird, and Garmin. I run a Garmin up front for forward-facing sonar, the live scope. I run a Lowrance up front for waypoint management. I run my Humminbird for 360. So I run all three brands just because, like, the waypoint management, in my opinion, is the best on the Lowrance. The Garmin, in my opinion, has the best forward-facing sonar. So that's why I kind of run all three. It's just what I feel comfortable running, and I'll continue to run all three going into next year as well.
That's cool. So you're pretty locked in with that gear. What about the trolling motor?
Trolling motor, I am running a Minn Kota Ultrex.
Tell me about that a little bit. I've only actually used a trolling motor once in my life, bass fishing in California, and it was amazing. The foot control,
Yeah,
everything. Just absolutely such a cool experience and such an advantage on the fish.
for sure. The Ultrex, it's a great motor. Obviously, my favorite thing about it is the spot lock. Like, looking back, I don't know how we did it without spot lock. So I don't know if you know what spot lock is. You press a button and it keeps you in one spot.
Yeah.
So before, like say you're on the St. Lawrence River and you're in 6-footers and you're getting blown around, all you have to do is put it on spot lock. You can take your foot off the pedal and it will keep you in that spot. So you're not balancing in 5-foot waves trying to stay on the spot. You can press spot lock. Or if you're drifting and you catch one and you want to stay there, you just press spot lock. But before, without spot lock, you'd catch one, and then by the time you put the fish in the live well, put another bait on, you're 100 yards off your spot. So it's a game changer as far as saving time for sure. And at the end of the day, time is everything when it comes to tournament fishing.
What's the shortest amount of time you've had to pull out the win in the tournament? Like what are these, like 8-hour tournaments, 10-hour days? What is this?
They're all 8-hour tournaments. So for the opens, they're 3 days. Every angler fishes day 1 and day 2, 8 hours a day. And then the top 10 anglers fish on day 3. So whoever has the most weight after 2 days, top 10 guys fish day 3. And then for the elites, it's everyone fishes day 1 and day 2. Top 40, I believe, fish day 3. And top 10 fish on the final day, which is day 4. So the opens are 3-day events. The elite series are 4-day events. Or opens are 3-day, elites are 4 days, 8 hours a day. That's
Solid.
5 fish each day.
What type of music are you listening to get pumped up for these tournaments?
I listen to a lot of different types of music. Country. I like Tyler Childers. He's good.
So you're chilling. You're not getting too hyped. You're kind of keeping a very even keel and just cruising along.
Yeah. I got some hyped up songs. I forget the names of them, but
That's cool, man. That's cool. No, it's funny because I feel like music plays a bigger part in this whole fishing thing than everybody really talks about. And everybody has their own little,
for sure,
hype up or get in the zone type thing before they fish or while they're fishing with headphones in or whatever.
I actually just got an email. I need a walk-up song for the Classic. You know any good tunes?
Oh, man.
That would get the crowd all pumped up.
I don't know. You might have to go with something hip-hop for that. I don't know.
Yeah, I need something good. I don't think Tyler Childers will cut it.
You might need
something a little bit more hype.
We'll talk to our guys. We'll see what they have to say about that. We'll talk to the youngins. Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the music the kids are listening to, I don't even know what half these motherfuckers are saying in it. I really don't. Now
I know.
and I feel old, even though I'm not. But it's anyway. I don't know, but yeah, man. Any other advice you'd want to impart amongst people that look up to you? Because I feel like a lot of kids do, especially in Canada. You've proven a lot, and people want to know what should they do to be successful.
Fish as much as you can. Don't listen to anyone else. Get out of the negativity. Hang out with people who are positive. Work hard, and Brandon Palaniuk, he said something one time. He said, he said something along the lines of, if you're obsessed with tournament fishing, if you're obsessed with the sport and you physically can't live without it, you have a shot. So if you're obsessed with it and you love it that much, you have a shot 100%. If you put the time in, you put the work in, you can do it for sure.
So what's next for you, man? What's the next tournament you're going to win?
So the first event of the year, our first elite event's on Okeechobee, which is on February 16th. And we have 9 events throughout the season.
Big Lake.
I would definitely like to win one.
Okeechobee.
Very big lake.
Very intimidating lake. How do you even
Yeah.
prepare for such a big lake? You got to look at the time of year.
I was there.
Right? So many factors.
Yeah, I was there a couple weeks back just to kind of do a little pre-practice. I didn't fish. I just kind of drove around the lake, just because it is so big and we're limited. We only get 2.5 days of practice, and on a lake like that, like it's giant. You know, I ended up going down early and I went there for 3 days just to drive around, just so I could see the whole lake. That way, when I come back, I kind of have an idea of where everything's at. But yeah, it's a giant lake, man. It's very big and it is a little intimidating, but there's a lot of big bass out there and I'm looking forward to kicking off the season in Florida for sure.
So you're just driving everywhere. You got to have
some
funny stories from the road. You got to have some funny stories from the road.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
All right, what's the craziest shit you've seen on the road? Whether it was pulling into a gas station or sketchy situation. Shit, I should probably pick up my camp and leave. Like,
oh yeah, like that's happened several times to me where I'm, you know, setting up camp at Walmart, like getting in late and like, you know, just parking at a Walmart parking lot just to kind of get some rest in the truck before I hit the road again in the morning. And yeah, I've had some people like come up to my window and I'm like, yeah, I got to get out of here, hop back on the road, go to a rest stop or something where I feel a little bit safer. But I've definitely been in some sketchy areas. Like I've been in some areas where I've been on the phone with my buddy who's kind of from that area. He's like, where are you? I'm like, oh, I'm just sleeping at the boat launch down this road. He's like, dude, he's like, don't sleep there. He's like, just come to my house. It is so sketchy there. So there's definitely been times where it's like just sketchy areas, you know, where it's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't sleep here. I should. And like, there's even times where I'm uncomfortable sleeping at some motels. Just cause like you got the boat, you have all your, you know, when I'm on the road, I got like my whole house in. The last thing I want is someone to break in the truck and basically steal everything I own.
Nothing like that's ever happened though, right?
No, knock on wood. I've been lucky.
That's crazy, dude. I bet there have been some sketchy ass nights in a few Walmart parking lots.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's wild, man. That's wild. Oh man, but anyway, I think that you have a very, very bright future in this industry. I think, you know, you're going to be doing a lot more than just that first place tournament. I think everything you did last year, you're going to do even greater shit, and you're going to look back at last year, and we'll talk about this in a couple of years, and we'll talk about how you thought it couldn't get any better, and then it did.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it big time. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. It's, like I said, it's a dream come true to fish the Elite Series, and it's all I've ever thought about doing, and really hasn't hit me yet, but once I get the boat all dialed and I hear Mercer on day one of the first derby of the year, it's going to hit me, and I can't wait. Looking forward to it big time. It's going to be a blast either way. Just got to make sure I catch a few fish.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do. And I think as long as you keep that laser focus where it's at, nobody could fuck with you. So good luck, Coop. And we'll be in touch, man. If you come down to Florida, hit me up. I'm down in West Palm.
Thanks.
It would be cool. I was thinking about a cool video we could do. Clown knife fishing, Lake Ida. Possibility if you come back down here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sounds good, man.
Big clown knife fish.
Sounds good.
Caught them up to 36 inches down here from shore. I can't imagine what we could do with the boat.
Yeah, right?
No, we could make a really cool video. Awesome. So, yeah, man, let's be in touch.
Sounds good, man.
All
yeah,
right,
again, thanks for having me, and you have a good week. And, yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. Safe travels. Stay out of those Walmart parking lots.
Hey, don't you walk on me. 'cause I worship the grind.